So it's game number 5, should be Axel the Great's home map again. We have Britons for Axel the Great for this one. Absolutely a solid civ for Golden Pit. You have an easier time taking engagements near the pit here with your Britain's archers with superior range from the castle age onwards. And yeah, great moving potential with your cheaper TCs. It's easier to sustain archers production even with multiple TCs, considering that Britain's archery ranges, town centers, sorry, cost half the wood. Also, the Britain's prerogative is that their team bonus is that archery ranges were 20% faster, so you have an easier time massing archers than any other generic civ. Mysel, on the other hand, is with Turks for this one. Interesting choice. They're received a buff recently with their scouts being granted an extra pierce armor from starting in the field age, obviously, and yeah, leaves their scouts like much better option to tank enemy archer fire. Could be useful against Britons here because you're going to run into archer's fire anyway. And then Turks on a map like Golden Pit, Turks thrive when they have access to gold. So if you can control the middle with Turks for Golden Pit, you're in a great spot to take good engagements throughout the game. You could go for the Cav Archers. The Sipahi for Turks gives the Cav Archers more hit points. You go for gunpowder units, bombard cannons, bombard towers even, and create them faster, as is the case. And yeah. Gotta get that Skrilla. What's a Skrilla? Alright, some house walls from Mysel here, as we've seen consecutively. Ah, money in the bank. Ah. I see. Yeah, the gold, indeed. Turks do mine gold faster as well, I believe. Is that one of the thingies here? Ah, hold on. 20% faster. There we go. Yes. 20% faster mining gold for Turks. So even the more reason to have more access to gold on the map, because your gold mines at home will be depleted more quickly. So Turks are left, they actually have to challenge the middle a bit earlier here, ideally, on Golden Pit. They will, to some extent, struggle against Britons, though, because Turks don't have great skirmishers. You need siege or mass archers or something. No, mass knights, I mean, to deal with early Britons archers. Mysel, as always, walling early, going for the full walls and the potential for a fast-ish castle here with Turks, maybe. I'm not sure what the play is. No barracks dropped yet, so investing wood into the walls, whereas Axel is dropping the mill now, so not going for the pre-milled rush. Could still go for men-at-arms for with Britons, or simply the straight archers with a quicker uptime, considering that the sheep are collected more quickly for Britons. You basically only need 5 villagers on sheep to begin with, because your villagers will gather them more quickly. Let's go Mysel, says Palm. Yeah, Mysel is up 3-1 now, so it's looking good for now. Walls on the way up here, and to the far side for Mysel. Has some good scouting around this base to know that he could pull off some pretty ballsy full walls here. He's not going to drop any barracks or military building anytime soon, because he's with only 77 wood in the bank, with 3 villagers only on wood. So I think Mysel is kind of thinking about scouts kind of play here, or you just wait. They are they 4? No, they're 3. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe scouts here, but we'll see what the Britons player is up to here on his side. Has dropped the barracks, is making the militia, so it's going to be not a pre-middle rush, but a rush after all from Axel the Great, and I think it's a good call, because Mysel will never be full walled in time here. The Drush, the angry housewife of Axel the Great, could be used to delay some walling here and also hit the berries, the food income of Mysel, impairing their ability to go up to the next stage here. So both players committing to the Dark Age for now. Mysel mainly for the walling, no aggressive approach here as the Turks. And, whoa, I didn't know you could build on this terrain, actually. I thought it was, yeah. Anyway, going for some very extensive walls here again, something Axel must have seen coming. But Axel, unfortunately, is going in the completely wrong direction here. So Mysel will be full walled by the time the angry housewives can reach Mysel's home area. That's a good reason to dislike Golden Pit right here. You'd see wood lines and you wouldn't find any stones or golds because the patches are so small. So on the normal Arabia map gen, you'd see a 4-tile gold and then you'd know that the enemy is there. But Axel realizes is not in this area after all, and finally might get lucky, but I think is heading in this direction first, and at the cost of Mysel having all of his walls up by the time Axel the Great can reach him. They're both going up at 23 pop, Axel with a 3 militia investment, so surprisingly enough they are pretty similar in the approach here, aside from Mysel not spending 60 gold and 180 food on army. Yeah, very unlucky scouting here for Axel the Great. Taking the long way around here, there's only one place left to hit, and the angry housewives, the militia, will at best cause some quick walls on Mysel's side. Mysel making use of his initial scout here to try and get some hits in and idle Axel the Great at home here, but doesn't really deal too much damage overall. Finally, Axel the Great finds the Great Wall of Mysel on this side and will start trying to take down a gate here. It's a bit of a walk for Mysel's villagers to go here to repair this gate, but the gate has 400 HP. I don't think the units of Axel the Great will be allowed passage here. Yeah, another gate goes up, but that's 30 wood down the drain from Mysel. It's going to take its toll on his wood economy as well. He is with a barracks now, is with the stables as well. And if he's going for the scouts here, that's not going to do too much either, because Axel the Great is with more or less full walls at home as well. He's making openings near the TC here. So the upside of having Turk scouts is that they would handle more TC fire. But they're still going to take some damage along the way to try and hit the rest of the economy of Axel the Great here. Double palisades on the way from Mysel now, playing it safe here. Doesn't want the aggression to be let in here, and I think he's going to do very well to keep it out as well. I think Axel noticed the stables going up on this side, so he will know that something might come his way from the Turks player. Could react by maybe adding a spear or two here, just for that purpose. And all in all, since Mysel is investing into the scout, it's going to give Axel even more of a head start to the castle age here with his Drush Fast Castle build. He's 3 food short of the click, and there it is. Now looking at Mysel's side, here is nowhere near that castle age click. He's with 0 on gold, as is common actually when you're going for the scouts. You delay going on to gold, you invest into more farms to have the food eco to allow that castle age click. Four scouts on the way out for Mysel now. Axel not with any ranges yet. He's actually only with the barracks for now. That means he could easily make some spearmen to defend against Mysel's scouts though, but they will go for the Drush here first. 5 scouts total actually for Mysel here now, so that's a bit of a food investment overall. Going to need quite a few more farms before Mysel can reach the next age here. For the time being, also long distance mining this gold. Surprise, surprise, we'll have 1 or 2 spears running out here. A quick gate here could keep the scouts from entering as well. These are Turks scouts though, they could handle more TC fire as we'll see right now. No, never mind. Not nearly enough villagers garrison there to deal any significant damage to scouts. That is 6 Turks scouts now roaming around in Axel the Great's base as he unfortunately fails a quick wall here. But in exchange will be right around the corner of a castle age and could drop that double range and get to the archers production. Spearmen helping out here, villagers fighting these scouts as well. They are still only scouts, but they have the defense, I think, the extra defense upgrade and the attack here. So Maisel is really investing into his scouts here, but still loses them to villagers and spearmen over here. Axel is safe for now. His eco took a hit there. He's down 10 villagers to Maisel now overall, but is one age ahead and is surprisingly enough still not dropping any archery ranges here. He's going straight for the middle, knowing he has the map advantage now, or the tech advantage rather, and with 3 town centers will of course be catching up in villagers easily, as Maisel has to click the castle age at some point. And Maisel with 14 on food, 6 on gold, soon has the gold count to go up, but will still be needing 300-400 more food to get to that next stage. Axel sending some spearmen forward now, just for a little bit of vision here. Maybe going to commit them to some scouting to the middle, see if Maisel has any presence, some army coming his way. But currently Maisel is with 0 military. He is preparing for that castle age click and is just 30 foot shy of that castle age click now. That effectively means that Axel the Great will be on triple TC villager production before Maisel can even click the castle age show, so these villagers numbers should be catching up very quickly for Axel the Great, provided he keeps all 3 TCs working here. So extending that gold income, still no army production buildings aside from the barracks for Axel the Great here. I've never seen a Britain's player go this late into archers, I think. But of course he knows he has the advantage, still not in the castle age, but he's also not punishing Maisel's eco at home. Maisel already dropping some preemptive defensive towers here in the space to have some point of refuge for his economy to flee to. Second stable going up, and I think Maisel's best choice for castle age here would be knights, maybe, for the mobility and for the chance to take out archers with... Well, he could mix light cav and knights actually, and have the light cav tank arrow fire and use the knights for the higher attack output. One spearman just poking away here. Maisel committing into more scouts. They will be light cav instantly, so it's not a worst call ever to go for them. Here comes husbandry as well, and the scouts, Maisel makes sure to ungarrison the scouts on the backside of the walls here, so that they won't take any hits from the spearmen and take unnecessary damage here. Military 3-2. Let's see if we'll be seeing any ranges soon for Axel the Great here. Is playing this really... what should we call it? I wouldn't say passively, maybe patiently to build that economy, catch up in villager numbers. As Maisel drops his second TC at home here near the stone. Could be thinking about a castle drop in the middle later on here. Here comes the range, first range for Axel the Great. Let's look at his wood and gold income. 19 on wood, 6 on gold. Should certainly allow for easy 1 or 2 range archers production here. Heavy plow on the way as well. That's going to effectivize the farms even more, so they won't be depleted as quickly once they have been rebuilt. I mean, Turks player Maisel is being slightly annoying here, just poking at the walls, forcing some quick walls. Maybe an overreaction here from Axel the Great, actually committing to 4 houses here with 2 villagers, but he is low on pop space as well, so maybe it makes sense to go into multiple houses there. Light Cow going to contest some of the middle here now, but there are some spearmen on the field for Oxel the Great, no upgrades whatsoever, so they actually struggle a little bit against the Light Cav here, but for the time being they seem okay. Mysel moving out with 7 villagers now, and we're going to drop a castle. Bales on it immediately, going even a little bit further forward to make sure he's within well within range of this TC. And looking at Oxel the Great's military numbers, he's in a pickle here now. These builders should be outside of range for the 6 range TC, and Mysel has army to protect his builders. Oxel does not have army to challenge this, at least not nearly enough. He is actually not producing from the range either, so this castle is really bad news for Oxel the Great. I bet he didn't see that coming. Mysel has extended with a TC to the far back here, taking some distant map control there near Woodline to facilitate wood income and keep producing farms. It is a significant villager lead for Oxel the Great, but now Mysel is with this castle placement denying a lot of gold and stone and even a town center here, so that's effectively 2 town centers working now for Oxel the Great. He could still produce for this one and send the villagers away, but at the risk of losing them to castle fire. Forward siege workshop even for Mysel here, as Oxel the Great is still playing the eco game here. Very patient, maybe a little bit too passive here, not going into massed units here to contest Mysel's approach to map control now. Mysel with 8 to 3 military, even though Oxel the Great was in the cast stage before Mysel had even clicked. Some Janissaries even from the castle of Mysel, and as long as Oxel the Great doesn't have any crossbow presence here in his military, it's actually with 0 military right now, going for a defensive castle. The Janissaries will probably not stop it, but if the Mangonels enters as well, could be looking tough for Oxel the Great to get this castle up. He will take huge losses, but given the 20 villager lead here, Oxel could still commit these numbers and lose quite a few of them and stay with the economy lead here in terms of villagers, at least. Mysel seems with a more healthy approach to the overall economy here, and seems to have some kind of plan here. The castle does go up though, and Oxel is forced back up on his own little hill here. Still with gold access near this TC, great TC with the farms and golds around it here. Mysel, surprisingly enough, going to be the first one to the Imperial Age as well here, so it's sort of a Turk fast imp on Golden Pit here. Will be able to produce trebs, but also going up at only 79 population here could pose an issue if Oxel is able to sustain this economy. Maybe, yeah, I actually can't take any stone right now. This is like semi-exposed, but Oxel's main issue here being lack of military. It's 11 to 7 military for Mysel. Still, even though Oxel is going to the Imperial Age as well. The fact that Oxel the Great wasn't able to deny this castle is huge, honestly, because it's in such a perfect position for Mysel to expand in the middle to this direction, here or here, because this castle basically covers all directions here for Mysel. Fantastic castle, taking out the TC, taking Oxel off the middle golds and stones here, and now spreading out the armies to have Janissaries raiding the woodline of Oxel on this side, and Mangonel pushing on this side, and now maybe a few Janissaries even on this side. And these dudes have 8 range and 17 attack, so they are pretty scary when there's potential to hit exposed economies like this. Woodline here for Mysel, he's extending his villager numbers, now only 12 villagers down. Seeing as Oxel the Great lost 1 TC and Mysel is at 4 town centers total now. Sees this woodline, no problem. It's going to have a couple of Janissaries on this side as well to raid. These guys broke through and are staying close to TC here to take out villagers. And Oxel, he is massing his numbers. If he can get to Arbalest, he will be able to deal with the Janissaries, but he will also need the appropriate upgrades, and that could be an issue here given the lost eco. Okay, the longbowmen, great choice as well, actually. They have 1 more range. So yeah, deals with the Janissaries is here pretty nicely actually. So like the Longbow edition from the castle, they have 5+4 range now upon reaching Imperial. That should be one more than the Janissaries 8 here. Maisel now going into both bombard cannons and trebs though, so he's going to go for a serious push here, maybe threaten this one and only castle of Axel the Great. And if this castle goes down, it's suddenly open season for Maisel to send his now Imperial Age Hussars into the game. Axel with a nice Mangonel here to contest. Let's see what he goes for first, if he goes for the bombard maybe, staying there. I'm surprised that didn't damage the bombard more, actually. A couple of mangonels from the hill here, using the hill damage bonus against the siege incoming here. Maisel doesn't seem to worry too much. The villager numbers are evening out here rather rapidly. Axel the Great suspecting Hussars to come his way now, considering Turks get Hussars instantly in the Imperial Age. We'll go for the barracks here to hold off against it, but I'm not sure if spearmen are gonna cut it here, even with Imperial Age upgrades for the Turks. Maisel getting the second armor for his, well, Hussars now. It's going to be Hussars, Janissaries, and bombard cannons here to push. Should be a pretty strong push to deal with, although via longbows or Arbalests of Britons should have an easy time dealing with at least Janissaries. But the Hussars with that extra pierce armor, once he Maisel can get all of these defense upgrades in, it's going to be a little bit tougher for small groups of longbows and archers of Axel the Great here to deal with those. Bombards trying to snipe the Mangonel here. Let's see if they can succeed. Actually aiming for the longbows first. Oh, that's a good shot by Maisel there, taking out 3 longbows with bombards there, taking out a couple more, and in return Axel the Great gets a great hit in on the bombards but doesn't kill any of them. So many longbow kills for Maisel with his bombard cannons. It's great work. Even though he lost a lot of 2 bombard cannons here, he has eco to sustain it. He has endless gold in the middle by now with his current gold access. Only 1 stone miner though. If he had more on stone, he could drop a castle here as well and just take Axel the Great off gold for good. Axel the Great is going into Halberdier here. That's going to deal nicely with any potential Hussar raids. And longbows seem to be handling the Janissaries decently here as well. So no thumbering for Britons, so their archers will never be 100% accurate, but with ballistics in the mix, you're still able to get some good hits in. The universities here for Axel the Great, so I bet he has the ballistics research by now. Four bombards again here. If Maisel can get some lucky hits in on this collected group of longbows, we're looking at some longbow kills yet again here. So attack around here maybe, and they get some juicy shots in. Janissaries chasing as well. And yeah, decent damage output from the bombards here. 5 bombard cannons total actually. Looking for some good hits here. The the Hussars moving forward to tank some longbow shots as well. Not going to make it easy for Axel the Great to keep defending this. Eventually Axel the Great will run out of gold. He has 3 gold spots left here, but only now 200 gold left in the bank, and that could be the GG moment if Axel can't reclaim the middle somehow, because he will be forced to fight with trash against a gold heavy Turks. And look at all this gold and food in the bank of Axel the Great not really being used now. I'm not sure, maybe a bit at a loss of what to make here now when they can't really only commit to that Britain's archers play, trying for a forward castle. There are still 2 bombards here to delay the progress, maybe get some hits in on the villagers building it though. Halberdiers killing Janissaries. These are supposed to be the counter to infantry units. Castle goes up on the hill for Axel the Great. Has 2 castles alive now, pushing a little bit with Trebs as well. Could be that he's gotten into Warwolf. Let's check that quickly. Yes, he does indeed. So with that blast damage from the Trebs, he could also use Trebs to snipe groups of Janissaries or bombard cannons like this. See that Treb hit that bombard cannon perfectly. Main issue here being gold income. Oxel is trying to preserve his gold, I think, by going trash units here combined with Trebs, but now the gold is actually depleted for Oxel the Great. He's absolutely dependent upon taking down this castle, as Meisel is extending into some ranges and hand cannoneers here, even getting Bracer, probably for the castle range then, I guess. That's why Meisel got that, and he's getting... producing. Bombards consistently has 2 siege workshops producing. Oxel the Great currently housed here will be even more severely housed if he loses the castles, and Meisel is not going to make it easy for Oxel the Great to move off his hill here. Another Treb, Warwolf Treb out for Axel the Great. Scores are a bit deceiving here. Meisel with superior KD here, 96 to 60. A few more villagers as well. Still has gold in the back of his base. He doesn't really need to take that given his current middle control. But Axel tries to sneak around here to drop a castle in the middle. But his scouting intel is limited. He will see the foundation here and doesn't have any halberdiers here at all to deal with these hussars. Here comes the group of halberdiers though. Mining camp, that's yeah, that's not going to work here for Oxel, I think. But longbows still a good call against the Janissaries here. You outrange them by 2 and could get some easy pickoffs here because of that. Hand cannoneers with 7 range as well. I mean, if they get close, of course they can get kills in here. They will slaughter the halbs. But with longbows with halbs as the meat shield here, as is Axel's play here, with longbows from behind, you're looking at quite a few pickoffs here actually. Even though Meisel is with twice the KD here now, and Axel is desperate for gold, but just wasting villagers here, trying to get a little bit of gold income from the middle. Meisel has basically all of the middle here now, and is not making it easy for Axel the Great to push back. Warwolf Treb certainly comes in handy though, as you'd be able to, if you're not exactly hitting the enemy Treb here, you'll deal area damage anyway, and there's 3 shots to take out 1 enemy Treb here. So what has me a bit worried here is Meisel is as good as PopCap here, still pumping out those bombard cannons, whereas Axel the Great is 40-50 population behind. He has 30 less military, which is a key factor here, and also fewer villagers overall. Just look at the eco tab here. Meisel is as good as PopCap. He will still keep bringing in resources, and he won't actually be spending them consistently because he won't have space for army. Means he could go into other upgrades like masonry, as he's doing here for the buildings, to strengthen the buildings, and even murder holes for the castles should Axel the Great's units come close here. Castle about to go down for Axel the Great here. Doesn't look good. And yeah, a last effort to try and claim the middle here from Axel the Great. Will be losing his one and only castle in the middle to enemy trebs and bombards. And GG it is, and it's 4-1 for Meisel here. Just going to look at the stats here, and we'll be going into the next game. I think arguably Axel the Great's largest mistake here was not having nearly enough military presence, no military whatsoever, even with the gas stage advantage. That is a huge power spike for Britons with their range. Didn't go into any military production, maybe feeling overconfident with the much earlier uptime, and got punished by Turks in the end with the faster Turks imp. Relics from Meisel, even on Golden Pit, get some relic gold to top it off as well. It's actually a tactical move from Meisel as well to do it on this map, because if you deny even the relics of the Britons player, there's not going to be any way for Axel the Great to get gold for his gold units.